Welcome to A Minute with Marty. Glad to have you today. We've got a great topic of conversation today. I have with me Matthew Knight. He's a financial advisor with Cetera Investors. Matt, great to have you. I appreciate you taking the time today, my friend.
My pleasure, Marty. Thanks for having me. Excited here to do the show with you. Yes, the topic is important and I would say timely. You've probably seen in the news where late last year we saw some layoffs sort of hit the headlines with really some of the larger employers. I think one notable one was Amazon, laying off about 19 to 20,000. So we see these headlines about layoffs, and that kind of hits Main Street, and you start wondering, well, should I be worried? And then we get the January jobs report, where we get about 500,000 new jobs created, which kind of flies in the face of that. Like, okay, some sectors are laying off, others are adding. And I did a little dive on this. It looks like, maybe some of the larger tech firms are laying off, while others, professional services, business services, leisure and hospitality, are adding jobs. Okay. A quick note on jobs report that comes out every month. So we're here March 10th today. The February jobs report just got dropped this morning. I think it was 311,000 jobs added. Still higher than anticipated, but of course lower than the month before. So you got a labor market where jobs are being added. We have some inflation going on. That's not a new story. We've been living under that for about a year now, and I would say buckle up for that to continue. If you follow Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. So what we're talking about today, 5 strategies for a changing labor market, how to thrive and survive in a changing labor market, whether planned or unplanned. Okay, you may be thinking, okay, it's time maybe to try something else. Okay, or you get news that your job is being eliminated. What do you do? So tip number 1: build an emergency savings. And this idea has been around for decades. We all know Dave Ramsey. He big. If you read Financial Peace, 20 years ago, I think I read it probably 15 years ago. One of his many books. Didn't go through the seminar, but you learn about the emergency fund. Okay, it's been widely adopted in financial planning. I implement that for people. I always lead off with, what's in your emergency fund. And hopefully you got something, okay? But this is tip number 1. You got to start building one if you haven't already. And then, so how much do you need? And here's a big bone of contention: is what's necessary and what's discretionary in an emergency fund. Okay, so this is an evolving thing, right? This grows, this changes over time. Depending on who you talk to, they'll tell you, well, it's my mortgage and my utilities and my groceries and gas for my car. But would you say that your data plan from Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile is necessary? You're probably going to say yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What about, your ISP, your internet service provider, Comporium or Spectrum or whoever's watching this today? I'm naming some of the ones around here. Your internet, your cable or satellite TV. How about your streaming platform? Okay, Disney Plus. Yeah. Kids watch it. Yep. You got young kids, adult kids watch it. You got Hulu. You got Netflix. Are you going to be able to part ways with that? But the point of this is not to say, I'm not the one that says, well, you need to cut this out. This is necessary, but that's not. It's your decision and yours to build against. Okay.
Yeah.
So typically with a 2-income household, you might get by with 3 months because one of you is still working. But if you're on your own, it might need to be 6. You might need to stretch it out a little longer. So 3 to 6 is that sage window. You may hear some people say, well, it needs to be 12 or it needs to be 18. You can do that. 6 is general guidepost to go on.
Right.
And I've always kind of liked the 6-month mark. I would think that you could find a job in 6 months. And if you're actively seeking while you're working, I think you'd find it faster than if you got laid off and had to find it. Because I've seen people accept work for less pay in that kind of situation, and you don't want that. So someone like me, I can help you determine what that mark needs to be and help you hit that mark. And and that kind of dovetail, this is kind of going to flow into topic number 2. I'll just run with this, and you cut in with a question or comment anytime, but, creating a transition budget is important, because if you are caught up in some sort of structural shift, you're changing jobs, you're going into another sector, maybe it's not a promotion, but you got to offboard at your current employer, whether that was sudden or you gave a notice, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to get into the payroll system of the new employer. And how much time is that? That's you probably see that a lot, Marty. We're talking a month maybe. Yeah. So you got to get onboarded. HR's got to put you through, matriculation, if you want to call it. I think onboarding is probably a better term, but we'll go with onboarding. So onboarding. Matriculation is school.
Yeah.
There you go. So it might feel like that, but so you got to get onboarded, and how much time goes by, and you got to plan for that. There could be expenses with a job search. Now you think, okay, like we're on a Zoom right now, right? So you may think, well, I can just hop onto a video chat and, dress nice up top and have my, beach shorts and flip flops on, and nobody ever sees that. Right. I fully dressed for this, by the way, Marty. I'm not wearing.
There you go.
Not in my bathing suit today. Okay.
Right.
All right. So,
that's right.
So the deal is, preparing for that. What did your employer pay for that you might be caught off guard by? Were they paying for life insurance? Group benefits.
That's right.
That's a big one. How about your medical? How about your major medical? To a lesser extent, the gym membership, and I don't know how many these days, what I see, working out of Charlotte, most of these places, there's complexes and the gym's already on site. You just got a key fob and you go in and do it. But I remember company I worked for, Lancaster County area, that gave us a little bit of money to go exercise. And that might still be around at a few places. I don't come across it that much anymore, but I think, okay, is that a big deal? No, but I've been exercising, been on a mission here to try to, get fit at 42 for the last eight months or so. So think about how you're going to pay for these things. How will you pay? Do you need to hit the exchange? It seems like that would be a good place for someone to talk to you. Do you hit healthcare.gov? Do you, life change situation, jump on your spouse's insurance? These are things that have to be thought out ahead of time. You don't want to get caught.
And the key thing is, when you deal with a financial advisor, everybody's needs are different. I mean, everybody. And you need someone to help you sometimes think outside that box, because sometimes when we going through changes and different things, we get kind of box thought. Everything is focused here, where, these topics we're going to touch today. I mean, again, everybody's different, and you got to think differently when changes happen. So that's important.
Yeah. That I couldn't agree more. So to close that topic out, think about the transition and starting up. And that's really all there is to that is, that's a custom conversation with an individual. No blanket statements can really fit that, other than you got to think about it. What's life look like in a by and by period in between? Okay. Topic 3, Secure Act 2.0. And I want to talk a minute about Secure Act 1.0, because that passed early 2020, which was, retirement reform. I would almost put it on par with maybe not quite Affordable Care Act, monumental, but a big deal.
Right.
It changed RMDs from 70 or whatever, 70 and a half to 72. Because you run into people who, they get annoyed by that. What do you mean the IRS says I got to take money out, of my account and whatever? Topic for another day. But this is important because Secure Act 1.0 comes out, passes in 2020 under the former administration. And then, the world deals with a pandemic, and I think the CARES Act and all these other acts come out to give us money to jumpstart the economy and save this and that and what have you. And, government, private sector stays liquid. However, we forgot about Secure Act and what that did. At least I did in my mind. I knew it was still active, but it just was not on our mind in 2020 and 21. And then last year, 2022, Secure Act 2.0 passes right at the end of 2022. It's in effect now. Some of its provisions, most of the provisions that I think are really good, save for the new RMD update, aren't in effect until 2024. Okay, so right now RMDs have been pushed. That's a required minimum distribution, for a retirement plan and an IRA. It's been pushed to 2023. The provision I want to talk about, though, is coalesces with the emergency fund, is that starting in 2024. Okay. And that's key. You can't do it today. You got to wait until 2024. They are allowing you to pull out up to $1,000 per year from your employer sponsored plan. So that's a 401k, that's a 403b. It could be your individual retirement account, your IRA. Okay. $1,000 a year. Not something it wouldn't be my go-to for getting a jump start, but if you're behind and need to jump start it, Jan 1 of 2024, you could pull out $1,000 to start building your emergency fund, although that money is earmarked for long-term needs. I want to stress that. So it's something that's being allowed if you get in a pinch. They'll let you pay it back in a 3-year window. Okay. And if you elect to do that, you do have to pay that $1,000 back before you can pull another $1,000. So they don't want money coming in and out in 3 years. Yeah. And that makes sense. So that's one way you could do it. That's penalty free. We all know that IRS penalty, for those that don't know, it's 10%. Okay. Yeah. It's still taxable as ordinary income. Okay. Yeah. These are always good topics to broach with your CPA or your tax preparer. I do want to stress that. So these are things you will encounter if you take advantage of this provision in Secure Act 2.0, which is a pretty deep and broad document. Okay. Right. Lots of, we could do so many minutes with Marty. We could probably do 300 minutes on this because there's just so much to unpack. For the topic of this one, that's one way you can use that provision to start an emergency fund as sort of a fail-safe, if you don't have another way to do it. Okay. Another one, and we're going to move into number 4 here, is deciding what to do with your 401k. So you've changed jobs and you got this old 401k, and it's not uncommon for me to come across a 401k that's been sitting somewhere and, off to the side for a decade or more. Okay. It just happens, so these days, most plans and your benefits administrator at work now provides you with options. So going out the door what to do. I always give advice on this, but you're more armed with information now than you have been as an employee, which is great for consumers. Okay. So a small balance under 5,000, they're probably going to encourage a cash out or an automatic rollover into some sort of interest bearing account. I've seen that before. You could always leave it behind. Okay. $5,000 or greater. You could do a direct transfer or a direct rollover to your new employer's retirement plan if that's your situation. You could always roll it over to an individual retirement account and work one-to-one with an advisor. So those are your options on 401k. But, I stress in general, don't neglect that step in the transition. You want to keep track of where your long-term money is and how it's being managed.
For some reason, when people change jobs, that's one thing that they have a tendency to forget for some reason is, hey, I had a 401k where I left. And, you don't want to leave something that important just sitting out there by itself, unmanaged.
No, you don't. And I guess for some folks, I don't think I operate this way, but, out of sight and out of mind. Oh, I know I have this, but you get busy living life, or if you're raising kids or if you're just working all the time and you're living life. And I get that because you and I live life, right? And it can be easy. It can be easy to kind of just, you have these things in the back burner of your mind. Like, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. 10 years go by. I still need to do this. Exactly. And that kind of happens.
It does.
But there's options out there. One critical thing, if you're 59 and a half, you can of course do the withdrawal, at ordinary income tax rates. So whatever you put into it pre-tax, prepare for ordinary income tax. That income's another conversation with your advisor, your tax preparer, so that you kind of know what's coming up against, because that can catch folks off guard. Well, I'm taking money out of my retirement account. But what do you mean I get taxed on that? Well, the IRS says that's income.
Yeah.
And I've told folks often, you either pay taxes now or you'll pay them later.
Yeah. They're going to
that's the deal. That is the deal. No free lunch. They might give you a reduced lunch for a more expensive lunch.
Yeah. Exactly.
later on, or vice versa. You choose. Mm-hmm. You choose. Now, on that vein, moving into step 5 here, don't overlook taxes, right? So think about, we all have spoke about and know about the Roth IRA, which is tax-free when you need it for retirement. Those go in after tax. There's no deduction for it, but it's tax-free later on. When you need that money after 59 and a half, your Roth IRA is tax-free. So this is the point I want to make about this. Let's say you do change jobs. You got the emergency fund built. This happens to you. You've gone live. It's go time. We're on the transition budget. We're working with our advisor. We're working with our benefits guy. We're working with our CPA. We got all these people on board here, and we know what's going on. And you may find yourself in a lower tax bracket. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so why is Roth important? If you're in a lower tax bracket, it might be a good time to rope in your team and say, do we need to talk about conversions? Taking pre-tax money, moving it into Roth, taking advantage of filling up a bracket without tripping into the next. Mm-hmm. Okay. Worth the conversation. If you have an ongoing relationship with your advisors, these things are going to be a part of the relationship and part of the conversation on a routine basis. So that, you shouldn't have to go and scramble for help, so you get in, you build a relationship with folks. It's what I like to do. Right. So I'm aware of your life events and we know what's going on. It's good to clue people in, don't call your guy or your gal a year later or 6 months later. I changed jobs a while back and I did this. There's things you can take advantage of. Roth conversion could be a good opportunity. So, we've kind of covered the 5 here in just lineal fashion. Build the emergency fund, have the transitional budget as a contingency. Okay. Deciding what to do with the 401k, throwing in some Secure Act 2.0 knowledge. Do we need to tap into one of its features? And again, not overlooking the tax implications of it could be favorable,
Yeah.
And in some cases it might not, but usually, no income and you're living off of a build-up fund, you've already saved and paid taxes on that money, so to speak. So, you could go down. So this, if you find yourself in a situation where, I think it's time to leave my employer and try a new venture, or things have just changed and I've been caught up in a structural shift. Okay. It's a good time to review these 5 bullet points as you make that move.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome, man. This is some good stuff. I always tell people, it's like you got to have a pastor. You need you an accountant. You need you an insurance guy. You need you a financial person. You need those things in life today. And it's always good to have a good one. And hopefully everybody enjoyed this and found it beneficial today. So Matthew, man, I appreciate it. Great topic. We'll have you back down the road on some additional stuff. And I appreciate you taking the time with us today.
My pleasure, Marty. Great to be here. Look forward to it again.
All right, good deal. Well, everybody else, we appreciate it. Hope this Minute with Marty was beneficial to you today. If you liked it, share it, get it out there for us so others can benefit from a topic like that today. If you need to get in touch with Matthew, his number will be at the bottom of the screen. If HFC Insurance can help you, definitely give us a call as well. So again, hope this was beneficial to you today, and thank you for joining A Minute with Marty. You have a good day.